Hey, something I've seen online a few times recently is somebody being asked for a junior front end developer position to code the game Snake in the browser. All right, you know, Snake is that game with the little snake that goes around and has to eat things and then gets longer and longer. So, whenever I see this, I think two things. First of all, I think that's a really silly question to ask somebody to do for a junior front end position because, like, as somebody who's done a bit of interviewing, I don't care if somebody can do that at all. I'd much rather know, do they know how to hit an endpoint? Do they know how validation works? Like, that's the kind of things you should be asking for a junior front end developer, not can they build Snake, because building Snake is unlikely to be related to what you're doing unless you're in some kind of snake company. But the other thing I think is, could I even do that? Like, I'm not a junior developer, but I've never built Snake in the browser. I assume I can do it. So this video is me proving to myself that I can do it. And if you're watching it, that means that I can do it, because otherwise I would never post this thing online, making myself look like an idiot. So here's what I'm picturing. And through the magic of editing, you'll be able to see how close I get. I'm picturing a grid. Okay, but we're not doing Snake because it's almost Christmas. So we're doing Santa, but in front of Santa are a number of reindeer, and they're going around and they're going to houses, and Santa's reindeers keep getting longer and longer. I guess it's like he's picking up reindeers at different houses. That doesn't really make sense, but we'll just go with it. And then there's got to be some kind of controls at the bottom, you know, up, down, left, right, because on mobile, you're not going to have a keyboard. So I've been thinking about this a little bit during the day. That's all I've thought about so far. Okay, and this is all I've set up for myself. So a style sheet, which is completely empty, an index page that just says Santa Snake, and then an app that says Go Time. So I have nothing here. Okay, wish me luck. I'll be showing you the stages as I go through them. And I'm going to talk about how I kind of reason about this type of thing. Before I get started with a project like this, something I like to do is called finding the nouns. And I first heard about this from Jeffrey Way, who's an awesome instructor. And the idea is pretty simple. So when you're starting any kind of web project, think about the different nouns that are going to be involved. And the benefit of this is, once you have your different nouns, then you can start thinking about how they actually are going to interact with each other, right? So instead of saying, okay, I need an array, I'm going to start coding it like this, it's going to hit the DOM like that. Don't do that. Just think, okay, regardless of what technology I'm using, there's going to be a few different nouns in this project that are going to interact with each other. Let's figure out what they are. So first I've got snake or Santa. So in this, it's going to be Santa, but you can picture the snake in the snake game. That's definitely going to be something. There's going to be houses or you know, like that little dot the snake has to get to. That's something that has to exist. There's the board, right? So you have a board. That is something that has to exist. A game. Now this one I kind of feel weird about, because that's sort of a nebulous concept, and I'd almost want to remove this here, but I'm going to leave it in just for now. We'll see if I end up actually having a game object. I may not. And then directions, because that is something I know that's the player input. Maybe I should just put input here. I like directions. It's more tangible. Okay, so here we are at what I'll call phase one. All right, so in phase one, well, let me just show you what I have working right now. So if I clear this out right here, then I save it. This is a little slow because it's a console table. Those are slow to render. I've got Santa here in the console, and he's at 1010, right? So column 10, row 10. And the next one, he's at column 9, row 10, column 8, row 10 in there. So, okay, Santa is slowly moving like an old-timey movie northwards. Okay, now, you might be wondering, why am I doing this in the console? This is another trick that I picked up, and I learned this where I'm not sure where I heard it originally, but I know that even Taylor Otwell, who's the creator of Laravel, he often will do things in the console or in the command line as long as possible before moving to anything graphical, right? A big advantage of this is I can be sure that my rendering logic, right? So displaying the thing is separate from my business logic, right? So I know that I'm not mixing in, okay, so what calculations should I do with, okay, what should be the result of those calculations? When you're working with a framework like React, it does that for you automatically, right? Because you don't have to worry about updating the DOM. Here, by not even using the DOM in my initial little demo, I can be assured that none of my work so far will be interweaved with the DOM. So it makes things a little bit cleaner. This won't actually be playable in the console because that would be really slow and it'd be a mess. Okay, I'm back. Not a lot of changes, but if you look over here, you'll see there's a house now and there's Santa. And you'll see that Santa is going north, 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 slowly but surely going north. And then Santa takes a direction change and starts going west until he lands on the house, and then the house seems to eat him or something like that. At this point, though, I'm going to have to stop using the console because the rendering is insanely slow. If rendering to the DOM is going to be this slow, this whole thing won't work. It won't be, but it's crazy how slow it is. Okay, I'm back, and now we're rendering to the DOM. So here you can see I've got a little house rendered here, and when I refresh, there's my Santa slowly moving up towards the house. When he's on the house, there we go, like that. But there's no logic to actually move Santa or to then increase the size of Santa. Increase the size of Santa, increase Santa plus reindeer. Not sure the specific jargon here. Okay, things are getting interesting now. There we go. We got Santa moving around. I can control him with my keyboard. Right? There we go. And then if I get him to go into that house, I mean, still nothing happens because there's no actual logic, but it looks kind of like Snake. This is starting to feel like Snake. And if I go out of bounds, I can come back because there's no reason to stop me from doing that. Or rather, I haven't coded it to stop me from doing that. So like right now, I can go down to my head. I'm somewhere around here. I should pop up right above my head. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so that's pretty stupid. But now it's actually starting to look like Snake. So I'm feeling pretty confident here. Feeling pretty good. Okay, let's see where we're at now. We got Santa flying around, getting in the house. We got a reindeer showing up. There's another reindeer. Some more reindeer. Oh man, where'd Santa go? There he is. There we go. Okay, so this is actually starting to look like the Snake game now. You'll notice, yeah, so I added a scoreboard up here. I wonder if I can, I can't drive to it, but it's around there. Hey, how's it going? It's actually the next day for me. I had to stop working on this. Dad life, went to bed, woke up, took care of my kid, cleaned a shed, that kind of thing. But we're back on this game now. Let me show you how far we've gotten. So, again, only incremental improvements, right? But we've got Santa, right? Like we had before, able to get these houses and scores going up. So I believe I'd shown you that. But now, if you crash into yourself, this might actually be a little bit tricky to do because I'm so small. If you crash into yourself, let's just crash into a wall. There we go. You get some tombstones. Okay, so we've got collision detection working now, right? So, and the score keeps going up, and then the game loop stops at that point. Once you die, Santa doesn't keep flying around like a zombie. At this point, is this game done? Like, does it? I think it's pretty much done, right? Like, I could submit this to somebody and say, like, I've made Santa Snake, and people would say, yeah, I guess you have. Looks kind of ugly, so we got to work on that in the next one. I also said I want to save the leaderboard, so we may work on that. But like this is a working Snake game, right? And it was not that hard, which I suspected it wouldn't be. But again, a ridiculous thing to ask a task in any like front end dev interview. Can you build a Snake game? It's ridiculous, especially for like a junior person. It just doesn't make any sense. Okay, cool. Let's see you when this looks prettier, hopefully. Okay, so where are we at now? We're at Santa doesn't start moving right away. We're at you actually have some decent padding. No more X's. Looks like you have an actual grid here. I don't believe I had the score presenting like this last time. And so I can move Santa around. And then the reindeers also will fit inside the square if I ever hit it. There we go. So yeah, so now it looks a little bit better. And if I drop out of this for a second, throw this into like a mobile mode, right? So let's put it onto a Pixel XL2, refresh the screen. It's gonna be roughly the right size for a handheld device. I mean, roughly, it's not going to look great. It's going to look a little bad on a mobile device. But that's okay. Okay, let's see where we're at now. So you can see a number of things different. I've got a high score here, button that says play again. Let's actually play again. We've got buttons down here that I can use to control Santa. It's really hard to use these buttons with my mouse, as you can imagine, but the keyboard obviously still works. Yeah, so things are looking okay. And then if I go into mobile mode here and refresh this, you got the buttons here, and they kind of fit a little bit. They fit okay on mobile too. All right, so let's figure out what have we done here. And one more thing, this is so small, so you won't be able to see it maybe, but look at the favicon I have here. It's Santa and a snake. That's actually kind of cool. I'll show you how I did that. A favicon is the little icon next to your website. Normally you're using like a PNG or something, but they now support SVG, and SVG are programmable. And so I didn't come up with this event on CSS tricks, but you're basically saying, okay, it's going to be a data image, and now you're actually creating the SVG in line that you want to use. And at CSV rather CSS tricks, they had it 100 by 100 like that, but I want it 200 by 100 because I actually have two emojis I want to throw in there. It's really small, but it's a fun little touch, I think. Okay. All right. So let's see. At this point, the last thing I need to do is just make this look a little bit prettier. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. I expect the next time you see it, it'll be extremely gaudy. Okay, here we go. We've got Santa, we got the reindeer. The grid looks a little bit nicer. We got some Christmas trees in the background. I think everything's going pretty well. So I'm going to call this the end state of this game. It probably could be a lot better. You could have sound effects, right? That type of thing. Also, a significant issue that I've run into is the fact that I want my dimensions to be calculated, the grid dimensions calculated in JavaScript, but I want obviously the grid to be sized by CSS. That kind of makes things a little bit complicated, and I've actually ran into an issue where this looks okay like this. I've got it looking okay on a mobile device like that. That looks okay, but if I threw this onto a device that was like really, really widescreen like that and loaded it up, actually it doesn't look that bad there either. Doesn't look great, but it looks okay. So yeah, I'm gonna call this done at this point. Should probably have the house not always start in the same spot either, but that's fine. And I've thrown it up online now. Obviously, I'll have the link in the description if you really want to play this game. And if you want to make your PR, if you want to edit it, you want to change something about it, go right ahead. That would be awesome if you're interested in doing that. And I said at the start of the video that I don't think a challenge like this would be good for a junior front-end developer. I really don't think a challenge like this would be good for any kind of developer. If you want to figure out if they're a good developer or not. I mean, yeah, I had to do some basic HTML, a little bit of CSS, nothing too much. And I did a fair amount of JavaScript, but like there's no input boxes here. Never had to worry about it. Never had to select, there's no select. There's nothing like that. I never hit an API. I don't have to worry about browser compatibility. It's just not really what front-end developers generally do in their job. So while this might show that you can do some basic programming, and I do think that something like this should be achievable by a junior developer who's willing to put in the time, it wouldn't really tell me whether or not they know how to do the front-end kind of development that they'd be expected to do at 99% of companies. Okay, thanks for watching. Hope you're having a great day. Bye.